So today I thought I'd try a different approach to stimulating you into action. And what led to this was my watching a video by Dr. Daniel Amen on the brain. And Dr. Daniel is a psychologist. He has several degrees in it, and he scanned over 20,000 brains. And in it he shows what a healthy brain and what a non-healthy brain looks like. The things that he talks off and says, first off, if you have children, never let your children play football. Ever. And he tells because of the brain damage that it causes when you're not even aware of it. And he did a study. He was one of the first people that did a study on the brains of football players. And what he showed you actual pictures of the brains, and you are blown away. He also said, don't let your kids play soccer if they're going to head the ball. Take them out of soccer because heading the ball is like this. You've got soft underneath and you've got hard on the top and there's jaggedness on the bone of the brain or the bone of the skull, and it hits it and it does damage. The other thing he talked about is that our eating habits. He's saying most of our mental problems, Alzheimer's, depression, and that can be tracked back to our eating. Did you hear what I said? He tracked back to our eating. Gentleman came into him to be treated. This gentleman was so depressed, been treated with every type of drug you can imagine. He was on electric shock therapy, was suicidal for the last 15 years. And he came in to see him, and Daniel says, well, the first thing we're going to do, we're going to change your diet. And they took out white flour, they took out white sugar, they took out dairy, they took out corn, they took out alcohol, they took out booze, they took out processed foods. 30 days later, this guy was functioning without any meds whatsoever. So they added in flour. This guy was fine. A week later, they added in dairy. This guy was fine. The next day, they added in corn. And that night he had a dream where he was blowing his brains out. The food caused the brain problem. This guy was cured by simply changing his diet. This information is out there, it's everywhere. So why aren't we using it? Because we're friggin' lazy. I can't say it any clearer. When you really think about it, the information we know today versus what they knew 100 years ago, 50 years ago, it's amazing how much we know. And the reason we're not using it is because we're just down and out lazy. I get that as a minister. I'll tell people, are you doing your meditation practice? Well, no. No, they're not doing it because they're what? They're lazy. So I want to explore what does it mean to be lazy. And what it means to be lazy is to live unconsciously. And if you look at society today, if you look at everything out there in society today, it's all about people being lazy. People don't want to make a decision for themselves. They don't want to step outside. So I was sharing the story that I shared with you about taking things out. And like this Dr. Amen said, someone said to him, well, Dr. Amen, if I drink that glass of wine at night, it makes my heart healthy. And Amen said, well, it makes your brain damaged. And so I was talking with Niranjan about it. Niranjan goes, Lee, do you know what happened? I said, what, Niranjan? The wine industry hired doctors to go to France and say that the French people are healthier because they drink wine. It's not because they drink wine. The French people eat much smaller portions. They don't have GMO products. They have everything pretty organic. They walk 4 or 5 times more than United States people. That's why they don't have brain problems. It has nothing to do with a glass of wine. It's simply the industry marketing itself and people blindly buying into it without doing the study. So why don't they look into it? Because they're lazy. I'm saying this about myself, not just you. I'm saying it's time we really start evaluating what are we doing in our lives. I don't want to ever be one that has Alzheimer's. I don't want to lose the control of my mind. I don't want those type of diseases that are a result of things that I control. So let's go further. So to take control means to live what? Consciously. That's power. That's power. So then what is laziness? Is living without a purpose. And you go to the world and most people don't have a purpose to live. So here's the question. How many of you, by raising of hands, have done the values workshop and know your top 5 values? Keep your hands up. How many people, if I walk up to you right now, can recite them to me within the first 30 seconds? Put your hands down. More than a third put them down. You should know your values inside and out so that you're able to, anyone walks up to you, what are your top hierarchy of values? You should spit them out as quickly as I do. Because why? If you're not spitting them out quickly, you don't really know them. So how can you live consciously from knowing them? When you know your values inside and out, the first thing you do when someone says, have a glass of wine, I say, does it fit 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, or 6 of my top values? It doesn't fit, no wine. If someone says to me, Lee, try that new fried chicken sandwich at Popeyes. You heard my story last week. I had a choice of Popeyes or the Impossible Burger. I chose the lesser that was going to hurt me because I asked the question, what's going to be better for me? It's about conscious choice. So let's go further with that. Laziness is knowing your purpose and not living in integrity with it. You see how we're peeling back the onion? It's living unconsciously. It's not knowing your purpose. And now you know your purpose. You know your values. You know where you want to take your life. And you still don't live in integrity with it. Anyone here guilty of it? Don't raise your hands because you all are. I'd have to raise mine too. Here's the thing we've got to remember. We weren't born to be perfect. We were born human. We were born to have contrast, but I'm going to tell you, the truly successful life is the one who lives more consciously. And the one who lives more consciously is very quick. Not only are they quick about what do they eat, what do they drink, how do they meditate, who do they hang around with? Are you hanging around with people seeking to be more, that are supporting you? Or are you hanging around with people who want to hear the misery of your story? If you come and counsel with me, I don't want to know your story. I want you to tell me what it is you want so that I can support you as you get that. That's what I want to support you in. But if you're going to start telling me blah, 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 you know how many times I've heard blah, 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 blah? You know how many times I've said blah, 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 blah? We're all guilty of it because why? We're inundated with it because we are a society that does what all the time? We either complain or we gossip. Think about that. Almost all human communication is about complaining about ourselves, our lives, or someone else, or gossiping about ourselves or someone else. And what is that? That's laziness and about not stepping into our greatness and going into an expansion of life that is greater. The more aware you become, I'm going to share this with you, the more aware you become, you're going to find you're going to be surrounded by fewer and fewer people. Because there's no crowd on the leading edge of awareness. The masses stay at a level. The masses are fed by dopamine. And what happens when you have an unhealthy habit of thinking? That habit that you have of thinking, the brain is emitting chemicals. We were talking about this last night when we were talking about pornography. You're wondering, I should have been a part of that conversation, right? Here's the thing that the people who produce pornography understand. When a male watches a new woman in the act, the brain emits a tremendous amount of pleasure chemicals, okay? Pleasure chemicals. And the more you see a different person, it keeps emitting the same bigger pleasure chemicals. But if you're with a partner like I am for 47 years, the amount of emitting of those chemicals goes down. Why? Because it's familiar. So there's a withdrawal. The chemical, you become addicted to the chemical that's doing it. So if someone's watching it and they start getting that, they become addicted and they don't even know why. They no longer want to be with their partner and they don't even know why because they've been brainwashed into it. I don't know about a lot of you, but I'm older when they used to advertise cigarettes on television. Remember, Winston tastes good, like a cigarette should. Remember that? And you had the Marlboro Man. Remember the Marlboro Man? He was a big old cowboy with a hat. He was powerful. Everyone wanted to be like the Marlboro Man. Pepsi's losing to Coke, right? What did they do? They hired Michael Jackson to be their representative. Why? People will associate Michael Jackson with Pepsi and people will buy it. Think about all the commercials that are played over and over and over again. They are literally programming our minds to buy the product because they're trying to teach us that our peace, our joy, our happiness, and our health are outside of us, when the most powerful thing that we have is the brain that's in ourself. Did you get that? Our brain is 2% of our body weight. 2%. I'm close to 200 pounds. I'm 190 pounds. So it represents 0.5% of my body weight. And yet, 20% of the energy I eat goes directly to my brain. So you can see the energy I'm putting into my body feeds the development of this, and this controls everything about me. Now realize this, the energy of the food you are eating is the energy you're absorbing. So how food is raised, how it's cultivated, creates an energy within the food. That's why if you don't know where the food comes, bless it. The guy that studied water, he showed how if you put a beaker of water, put love on it, it has a crystal. If a beaker of water with hate on it, it has another crystal. But you can take the beaker of hate on it, and you can bless it and bless it and bless it, and you'll change the makeup of the water in the one with hate on it. Do you get that? Your consciousness can shift the energy of something. That's why if you don't know what you're eating before you eat, bless it. Because why? Because what you're eating is going to become your body. It's going to become your brain. Don't you want the best that you can have for that? Laziness is giving your power away and expecting someone or something to come and rescue you. A lot of people come up and say, "Hey, Reverend Lee, you can fix me." And I go, "Can't do it." Who can I fix? Only me. What can I do with you? I can guide you, and I can hold you accountable. And guess what? A lot of times when I hold people accountable, they're not very happy. Because let me tell you, when you're holding someone accountable and they give you an excuse, you don't listen to the excuse. Why? Because they've asked you to hold them accountable, right? What kind of partner are you if you're not holding them accountable? You can find someone to hear your story all day, every day. Just go out to someone, "Hey, this is what happened to me. This is my story." I was walking 2 days ago. I was walking the dog. We're way around the block by these houses right on Lake Louisville. And a couple guys were out there. I've never met these guys. So I walked up, "How you doing?" And I had Bailey with me, and we're just standing there. And the guy says, "Hey, what happened to your arm?" I said, "Well, it's real simple. It's downtown, walking along, construction fence, wind hit it, blew over, fell down, fell on my pelvis, fractured that, strained ligaments, broke a bone, screw put in. I'm almost healed." Do you notice when I said that there's not a lot of drama in that? Those are just facts. And the guy goes, "Well, have you sued?" He says, "You could get $100,000. What's the energy behind suing? Real dark energy, isn't it? Real dark energy. Do I want that in my life? Do I know I'm going to get the reimbursement of the medical expenses? I know that. The company's going to give it to me because I'm pretty clever. I was in insurance for 32 years. I was a friggin' vice president. I know this stuff inside and out, and I know key words that'll cause them to pay. I'm going to say to them, pay $1,200. Or I can get a lawyer and you can pay $100,000. You get to choose. You see, I'm not about greed. I'm about getting what's rightfully mine. And all I ask is, because I'm accepting some of the responsibility for this. And you're saying, why? I said, because I consciously or unconsciously chose to walk next to that temporary fence. Had I been conscious, I would have seen a temporary fence. I would have felt that there was a big wind out there, and I would have walked on the other side of the street. So you see, I'm not playing the victim role. I have a say in it. But they also had a responsibility of having the bottom part of that fence filled with water so it wouldn't fall over. So I'm saying it's mutual. Let's dance here. Let's play together with this. And so I'm not looking for anyone to rescue me. I'm my own rescue. But here's what I am looking for. I want people in my life that'll support me. It's important to have people in your life that are there to support you, because there are times when we all can use a hand up, not a hand out. Did you hear the difference there? 3 Christmases ago, someone came to me I barely knew and wanted to come and live in my house and played the card that you're a minister and you have a bedroom. And do you know what I said? No. I may have a bedroom, but I am not a shelter. But here are 2 or 3 phone numbers that you can call that can provide you this type of service. You see, society's put a label on being a minister that you're there to give a hand out. That's not the type of minister I am. I'm here to give you ideas and to support you as you raise yourself. We're a different spiritual center here. We're not the traditional shepherding one. Because a shepherding one holds you where? It holds you down. It makes you dependent on people above you. It's putting someone between you and your infinite. Why would you want that? I can remember when the priest told me when I was in the seminary, they said to me, well, you've got to come through me to know God. I said, you got to be kidding me. You got to be kidding me. That's why they kicked my butt out. There was no seminary after 1 year. I was 15, became 16. They kicked me out. My parents were in tears. When I went up to my room, I went, yes, I'm out of there. Thank God. There's some crazy people there. They wanted me to believe some crazy stuff. Laziness is doing the same thing over and over again and expecting a different result. Einstein said it was insanity. I say it's laziness. How many people have been with a partner and it was friggin' miserable? They got out of that relationship, and what do? They got a new partner. And it's like the Who song, meet the old boss, meet the new boss, same as the old boss. Nothing's changed, has it? That happens over and over again, because why? In order to attract something more, we have to become something more. So if you're in a relationship and you break up, you should take a year becoming a new man, a new woman, in order for you to attract and be someone different in the relationship. If you don't take that time, you are destined to repeat it again and again and again. Ask me to hold you accountable for that. It'll be funny if you start dating before a year what I'll say to you. Are you nuts? Have you lost your marbles? Let me tell you what's going to happen. It's not going to be pretty. Why did I pick a year? Because then you're going through all 4 seasons. There's a reason why you don't make a commitment right away. If someone comes into Agape and they want to plug in, they've got to go through membership classes. They got to take a Science of Mind class. Then they become a member. Before we'll ever allow anyone to run for the board of directors, they've got to be a member and be a member for at least a year. And they have to demonstrate that they're being of service. They have to demonstrate they're being of financial support. Why? Because we want to know that they're truly committed. Because too many people come into a center like this and they feel good and they want to plug in right away. No. Take your time. Make sure it's right for you. That's the same thing in a job. That's the same thing in a relationship. It's the same thing in everything. You've got to really take time to unfold and be with it so that you can understand, is it right for you? Laziness is not using the power within you to consciously create your life experience. What do we teach here at Agape, week in and week out? There is a power within you that responds to the nature of your thought. The nature of your thought are your beliefs. Your beliefs are your thoughts, words, actions, and feelings aligned toward a specific result held persistently and consistently. That's also the definition of conscious living. Did you see, of being unlazy? When you think about a belief, thoughts, words, actions, feelings aligned toward a specific result, held persistently and consistently, if you're doing that, are you lazy? No, you're conscious. And when you're that, you are the exception. And you will have a life that is beyond description. A life beyond what you imagine today will happen in the future. And it'll start in the moment you make a decision. And what is a decision? It's when you say, I'm going to do something, and in that moment, there is no turning back. When the Vikings went and they were attacking something, and they knew it was going to be a horrific fight, they didn't know if they would win, the leaders would burn the ships so they had no retreat. When you have no retreat, you'll do anything. One of the greatest sports movies of all time, The Replacements. If you remember, The Replacements is about the replacement football players. And they were in the final game to get them into the playoffs. And the coach, McGinney, said to the team, he says, you're very dangerous. And he says, you know why you're dangerous? Because the strike ended today, which means you have no tomorrow. And the other team, they're not replacements. So you've got nothing to lose but to go out there and give everything you got. So I want to say to you, are you worthy of the life that you've dreamed of? And are you worthy of giving it everything you've got?
I want to thank you for joining us today. I'm so grateful that you took your time to watch or listen to this message. If you found this message beneficial, I would ask that you go to our website, agapecsl.com. Once there, click on the donate button and experience the joy of conscious and purposeful giving. Or if you would like, text your gift by simply dialing 972-532-6976. It is through your gifts that we are able to bring this message to you in the world. I would ask that if you like this message, to please subscribe to my YouTube channel under my name, Lee Wolak. Again, I want to thank you for joining me in the Agape community as we learn how to better self-love through conscious living.